All right, so this is actually kind of interesting. I don't know that I've ever heard this phrase, but you may have. It's the lake has flipped. You might hear that term when you're trying to plan a trip to the beach, and found that the water temperatures have dropped drastically, seemingly overnight, and it actually happened over the weekend. Amber, of course, here to kind of break that all down for us. You know, I have heard of like the term upwelling, right? We talk about it here on the program a lot, but I have not heard people say the lake is flipped.
I actually haven't either. I've never heard people using that specific phrase, but I feel like a lot of people are starting to understand, okay, we know what upwelling is now, just because we've talked about it so much, because it happens pretty regularly, and saying, yeah, these temperatures can drop drastically, seemingly overnight. They can absolutely just drop significantly overnight. I know that a couple of weekends ago even, there was a good 70-degree day where the water temps were in the 70s. The next day, they dropped down to the lower 60s. So things can change really quickly on Lake Michigan, and it all has to do with our winds.
Yeah, so, okay, so it has to do with the winds. Upwelling is interesting, and it literally is just that, right? Like the lake is just flipping, like,
essentially,
the temperatures. But, I mean, it's the water from under and the water from up top kind of flip-flops, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. There's a more scientific way to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at it too, because I actually have a graphic that kind of demonstrates exactly what we expect to see when we have upwelling. Let's talk about lake temps right now, though, because those are sitting in the 60s. Last week, we were looking at a lot of 70s. Even further south into southwest Michigan, we were seeing some upper 70-degree water temperatures. Now, because of winds over the past about 24 to 48 hours, we have unfortunately seen quite a bit of that upwelling out there. Now, past 24 hours, or past 48 hours, sorry, here, we continued to see a lot of easterly winds, some northerly winds as well, and those combined contribute to a lot of upwelling. So when we're looking at what upwelling actually means, a lot of that comes down to, with the wind direction, what that does to the water at the Earth's surface. So looking at water temperatures at the surface, when they were in the 70s, things were feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and that's what I prefer, by the way.
Absolutely. I think that's what a lot of people prefer. We will continue to see some areas. My remote just does not want to work.
And you would prefer
today.
that your remote works,
I would really love if that could happen. It looks like it might be dead, so I'm gonna have to go run and grab the other one.
Here, I can go grab it while you
you're the
talk.
Best. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk upwelling. Water temperatures at the bottom of Lake Michigan in the 40s, the 50s. That's where all of the coldest water is. No surprises there. When you get to the upper, really the surface of the water, that's where the sun is able to heat up the water, get it into those 70s. But way down at the lake's surface, instead, that's where we end up seeing a lot of those 40s and 50s. Now, with winds that are largely out of the north and the east, that continues to push a lot of the water at the Earth's surface, at least. That continues to push it further away from the beach. So the shoreline starts to instead see those currents really taking away a lot of those warmer temperatures. With that being said, the flow continues to move further and further away, and that brings up a lot of those currents from really deep in Lake Michigan. That brings a lot of those colder temperatures, those 50s and 60s, closer to the shoreline, closer to the beach, which is why we end up feeling so chilly. Now, over the next about 48 hours, 24 hours even, we'll continue to see some winds that aren't necessarily predominantly out of the north and east. So it doesn't look like this is necessarily going to get too much worse, which is definitely some good news. Now, we will be able to still see these water temps that aren't feeling so great for today. But if you were hoping for a beach day the next couple of days, we are going to be heating up.